Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm just sitting by the fire, reading some fairy tales. You know what I love about fairy tales is they have so much information to give you, even if you read them upside down. I love fairy tales, and I actually wrote one. You excuse me for a second. Oh, I don't smoke. That's just where I keep my sunflower seeds. Figured that was a pretty classy place to keep them. Anyways, as I was saying, I actually... Oh, excuse me. They went down the wrong pipe. No pun intended. As I was saying, I actually wrote my own fairy tale, and I thought maybe you wouldn't mind if I shared it with you right now. It's called Beardelocks and the Three Girls, and it goes a little something like this. Once upon a time, there was a young grizzly named Beardelocks. Beardelocks was just like any of you. He loved to frolic through the meadow, go out and play in the woods, and eat salmon from a stream. You know, just like everybody does. Beardelocks woke up on one fine morning in summer feeling refreshed and rejuvenated, ready to set out on his glorious new day of opportunity. You see, Beardelocks had big plans for this day. He was going to visit his grandmother, who he had heard from his mother had been feeling under the weather for the past couple of days. But first, he needed to go get her some honey from her favorite honey tree deep in the woods. So Beardelocks set off, walking along his normal path, happily hopping after a butterfly, going to the honey tree, when he happened upon a young lady. She was lounging lazily on the side of the road, with her blonde head lying right in Beardelocks' path, moaning loudly about all the work she had to do, but her desire to do nothing.
I don't want to brush my hair all nice, or go to school, or anything at all,
she said bemusingly.
Oh, hello, Mr. Bear.
She quipped, startled by the intrusion.
Hello, young lady. My name is Beardelocks, not Mr. Bear, if you be so kind. And if you might excuse me, I really must be off down this path. You see, I have some rather important honey to retrieve, and my grand is expecting me at 2:30.
That sounds like so much work. Wouldn't you rather just lay here and do nothing at all? I would enjoy the company. My name's Lucy, by the way. Layabout Lucy, that's what everybody calls me.
Well, Lucy, I must thank you for your offer, but respectfully decline. You see, I'm on a schedule, and I really must keep it.
Come on,
said Lucy.
Your grandma won't care if you're just a few minutes late, just 5 or 10 or 15 minutes.
Beardelocks stopped for a second. He really did want to get to his grands on time, but he had to admit the offer to sit was tempting, considering he had already been walking for some distance at this point.
No, I really must be going,
he said, hardening his resolve.
Suit yourself,
said Lucy as Beardelocks sauntered ceremoniously away. Beardelocks continued down the path, very happy with himself for resisting temptation and continuing on his mission for his beloved grandmother. He didn't even make it 10 minutes down the path, however, before he was assaulted by the cries of another young woman. Beardelocks sped up rounding the corner to see if he could help the poor girl. But to his surprise, when he came around the bend, he saw a sobbing, freckled, red-headed young woman sitting in the middle of the path, sobbing uncontrollably, but otherwise looking completely unharmed. She wailed again and again.
What seems to be the matter, Mum?
Asked Beardelocks, hoping there was some way he could help. The sob subsided, and she looked up at her would-be rescuer.
Oh, Mr. Bear,
she said, preparing to tell him all her woes. But Beardelocks interjected politely.
Oh my goodness, yes, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Beardelocks, if you please, and you are?
My name is Penelope. Barty and Penelope, that's what everybody calls me,
she said, still sniffling.
Right then, well, Penelope, what seems to be the problem?
Well,
Well, I'm sorry, miss. I wish there was something I could do to get you out of this pinch,
said Beardelocks, really meaning every word he said.
Well, jeepers, that sure is nice, Beardelocks. But I don't think that there's anything for you to... Hang on! You can go with me to the party!
Said Penelope, suddenly upbeat.
Oh, please? Would ya? It's gonna be a lot of fun! It's deep down in the woods where nobody comes, so we can do whatever we want! You gotta come, you just gotta!
I do love a good soiree. However, I'm in the middle of an errand, so I cannot attend. Besides, my mother always told me not to go to strange parties with women I do not know.
Come on, it'll be fun! There'll be drinking and dancing and snacks, and you can leave any time. You just have to take me there, and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Beardelocks pondered this for a while. The party didn't sound so bad, and he would be helping someone out. His mom did warn him about going out to parties and to stay on the path, but she wanted him to help people whenever he could. This was a tough one. Beardelocks sat down and began to ponder. Penelope looked on, waiting for an answer, every now and again saying things like,
It's not too far.
or,
It's no big deal.
Beardelocks made up his mind. He was going. But just as he opened his mouth to tell Penelope the good news, he thought of his grandmother and how disappointed she would be.
I'm sorry, miss, but I simply cannot. I must visit my gran this afternoon.
Fine then.
Penelope said, as her eyes already began to fill with tears again. Beardelocks pranced proudly away, knowing that he had made the right decision. He could hear Penelope's sobs before he even rounded the next corner, but took solace in the fact that he would be at his grandma's house very soon. Beardelocks continued to walk wearily, and to his great joy, soon he could see the honey tree up in the distance. Beardelocks was so excited that he began to run recklessly along the path. Unfortunately, his recklessness led him to tripping and falling over a pile of garbage that someone had left in his road.
Ow, what's the big idea?
Came a voice from the pile of refuse. Beardelocks was stunned and taken aback by the voice.
Hello? Who's there?
He said. To Beardelocks' amazement, the garbage on the ground began to move. Before long, he realized it wasn't garbage at all, but instead a human woman. Yes, the more it moved, the more he was sure. There was an arm and 2 legs, and yes, there's the other arm. But still, she was barely recognizable as an actual person. She was covered in mud and dirt and trash. Her face was full of deep-set wrinkles, and her brown hair was matted with mud and had sticks and leaves sticking out of it.
I said that.
Came a voice from an old woman with too many bad habits.
The name's Tanya, but my friends call me Trash Heap. Well, they would if I had any friends.
With this she laughed, but it sounded more like a dog wheezing.
And who are you, Mr. Bear?
Beardelocks took a few seconds to regain his composure.
Hello, Mum. Tanya. My name is actually not Mr. Bear. In fact, it is Beardelocks, if you don't mind, and I really must apologize profusely for tripping over you only a moment ago. I simply did not see you there, my dear, in my rush to get up to that honey tree up ahead. Again, you have my deepest apologies.
Yeah, whatever, Mr. Beardy Socks, or whatever you said your name was. Just don't let it happen again.
Yes, I will not. Again, I am sorry, Mum.
What's with all this ma'am stuff? I'm only 14 years old.
Said Tanya, annoyed.
Well, I apologize for that, young lady.
Said Beardelocks at a loss for words, which had rarely happened to him in his short life.
Well, whatever.
Croaked Tanya.
Well, I really must be off.
Wait.
Yes?
Do you want to smoke some crack?
No, that's quite all right.
Replied Beardelocks as he scurried away.
Fine!
Beardelocks heard Tanya yell behind him, and a big thud as she fell into her pile in the middle of the road. Beardelocks spent the last 100 yards of his journey creeping cautiously, hoping for no more interruptions, But there were none, and he easily collected his gift for his grandmother and a snack for himself before leaving the woods, headed to his grandmother's house on a different road than the one he came in on. On his journey out of the woods, Beardelocks couldn't help but think about the 3 crazy girls that he met in the woods. It was easy to say no to the 3rd girl, but he wondered if it would have been harder had he taken the first 2 up on their offers. By the time he was done considering this question, he was at his grandmother's house, and judging by the sun, he was right on time. Beardelocks had a wonderful visit with his gran, and the honey made her feel so much better. Beardelocks turned out to have a great life. He met a young lady bear, they had a few cubs. He still enjoys frolicking through the meadow, going out and playing in the woods, and eating salmon from the stream. And every now and again, he thinks about that fateful day in the woods, and he knows he made the wrong decision. He should have eaten all 3 of those girls. Bears eat people. The end.